So hello everyone. Thank you for joining us in this session and this track, which is deep diving into AI Builder and Microsoft Teams. Before I begin this session, a few things from my side. One, I cannot see the chat. So if you're going to post questions there, I would still recommend you to do it. Sharon will be keeping an eye in the chat and she will post your questions over to me during the session, or we can even do that after. If you are someone who would like to go off mute and ask your question, raise your hands and raise your hand in Teams, and then we will get to your question. So FYI, I cannot see the chat. Another thing that I want to talk about is for today's session, the goal is to explore what's available and also in terms of what can be achieved by leveraging AI inside of Microsoft Teams. So let's get started with the session. A little bit about me. My name is, wow, did I not put my name? I did not. My name is Raza Dorani. I am a Microsoft BizApps MVP. I work at an organization based out of Houston, Texas in the United States. My role is the Power Platform Practice Technical Lead. I have a YouTube channel wherein I frequently video blog about all things Microsoft 365, and that's my Twitter handle. So let's begin with our session. AI Builder is our focus, and of course, how we can leverage it in Teams. So let's first understand what is AI Builder and what features does it offer for us so that we can leverage it in the context of Microsoft Teams. So this is a slide. If anyone has attended any Power Platform based sessions, you would guaranteed you would have seen the slide. This is the standard slide that talks about the entire Microsoft Power Platform ecosystem, talking about the four major pillars: Power BI, Power Apps, automation, and chatbots, which is the virtual agents. And apart from all of this, we have data connectors, which allow us to connect to our data no matter where they live, on premises or in the cloud. The Power Platform has its own data service. It's called Microsoft Dataverse. And then right at the center there at the bottom is AI Builder, which is known as Artificial Intelligence Builder, which is a low-code AI service that is offered as part of the Power Platform. Now, AI Builder is not something that is new. This service is built on top of Azure. So if anyone has explored the cognitive services, there are various kinds of these AI-based services in Azure. If you've ever explored them, for example, there is an Azure form recognizer component. There is a vision cognitive service there. There's a language detection one. There is a translation service. So there are many of those services that Azure offers in terms of AI that you can leverage today. However, to connect to Azure, to understand the APIs that you need to call in to get that service, there is work involved in order for you to interact with those services. What AI Builder does is it actually encapsulates what's available in Azure AI and presents that to us in a low-code, no-code fashion. The Power Platform is designed keeping citizen developers in mind, power users in mind, business users in mind. And keeping all of that in mind, AI Builder gives us all those capabilities, or most of those capabilities, that Azure offers in a much more simplified experience for us. So firstly, it's nothing new. It comes from Azure AI. And as part of AI Builder, there are four main categorization of AI capabilities that have been provided for us. And these are commonly the most used ones in our day-to-day business processes. So the first one is documents. In terms of documents, AI has the following set of capabilities for us. We can process forms and structured documents. meaning we can get information from within documents as long as they follow a peculiar pattern or a structure. We can perform OCR, optical character recognition, on documents or images, basically grabbing the text values from within those documents. We can process common form types, for example, invoices, receipts. We can process common document types like passports, driver licenses, business cards, and a lot more. And all of these are provided to us either as models that are pre-built for us, so we can straight away leverage those AI models in our business solutions. No training required for those models. Or we also have the ability to create our own custom models. And I will show you both in the form of demos in a short while. The second categorization is language. So any kind of text basically that is provided for us, we can either categorize that text, extract some key points from the text, detect the language of the text, translate the text, analyze the sentiment of the text, and a lot more. So we have documents and we have text. Then we have images. And from images, there are three things we can potentially do. Of course, we can do OCR, just like we have that feature for documents, wherein we can grab text from an image. However, we can also do some additional things. For example, we can classify images, and we can also detect objects within those images. And that detection feature not only detects the objects within it and tags it, but at the same time, it can also give you the count of the number of times that specific object is available within that specific image. And finally, the fourth categorization is around data that is structured, that has a peculiar pattern to it. The structured data concept works if your data lives inside of the data service or the data layer that the Power Platform exposes, which is Microsoft Dataverse. So if your data is there, and that data, of course, is structured, with AI, we have the ability to predict certain things about that data. For example, let's take an example of sales data, right? I'm trying to crack a deal with a specific customer. I have all my information in there, and I have certain metrics that drives whether or not the customer, what's the probability that the customer will sign the deal. Depending upon your metadata, you can create those prediction-based models, deploy them inside that structured data interface. So these are those 4 categorizations of AI models that have been provided for us inside the context of AI Builder. And although AI Builder comes from Azure AI, not every AI capability that is available in Azure has been deployed for us in the context of low-code, no-code AI Builder. AI Builder is kind of waiting for feature sets to come to Azure, and when they come in, that's when the AI Builder team starts working on the latest features, and then we get those features later on. So many a times there's a delay before the features come in. However, AI Builder is provided for us, keeping citizen developers in mind. So we spoke about those categorizations, and let us explore the models that have been provided for us. So let's focus on document models first. We have invoice processing. This is an out-of-the-box model that does not require any training whatsoever, and it's designed to gather information or to fetch information from invoice type of documents. So if you receive customer invoices on a periodic basis and you want to get the information or the metadata out of those documents, you can do so by leveraging invoice processing. It reads a common set of information from within the model, the invoice date, customer name, the invoice type, and so on and so forth. We have text recognition that can do OCR, receipt processing, a very common use case around extracting information from receipts, very similar to what Invoices does. Identity type documents, those are your passports, driver licenses, those common identity type documents, and business card reader, which allows us to extract information from business cards. Now, all of these 5 types of models, invoice, text, receipt, business, identity, document, these are pre-built models. I like to call them as ready to use models. Basically, you don't have to do anything. You simply get in there and say, I want to use this model that's available in AI Builder. I pass my contextual information to it, whether it's document, text, a business card, an image, whatever it is, and the model sends me the response back. So there's no training that I need to perform on this model. The 6th type that is provided in there is known as the custom model, and you'll see the custom tag on the top right. Custom models are models that you can train, you can build. For example, let's say I receive contracts from multiple vendors, and each of those contracts that come in have a peculiar pattern to it. So I would like to train the model to read data from those various document types that are coming in. And if any of those pre-built models do not suffice my requirements, I have the ability to go and create my own model, which is the custom model. On the other side, we have the text-based processing models, which allow us to either analyze the sentiment of a text, detect language, grab some key phrases, and more. These are on the most simpler lines as against the document processing model, much more easier to use. And then we have the image processing model, which once again has that same OCR feature that document processing models have. And then the custom model, which is object detection. You have images that are coming in. You want to detect the number of objects within a peculiar image. You want to tag those objects within those images. You create the object detection model. And Microsoft recently partnered with a company called Lobe that again focuses on AI in a low code, no code manner. So those Lobe-based models as well have been provided for us inside of image classification. So these are the 3 main categorizations of AI that's available as part of AI Builder. Now, of course, all of these you want to integrate within our goal today is with Teams, right? Microsoft Teams, I want to integrate my experiences with AI Builder. And there is no direct connector available for me from Teams wherein I can say, all right, let's launch AI and do certain things. However, Power Automate is the glue of the Power Platform, basically the integration channel of the Power Platform. So leveraging Power Automate, I can connect Microsoft Teams with AI models and perform specific actions. And we have been provided with a certain set of pre-configured models, which are based on Microsoft Teams and AI Builder that we can leverage straight away out of the box and create certain flows that perform AI tasks. The screenshot that you're looking at, which I've plugged into this slide, this is something that was recently announced. In fact, as recent as yesterday, wherein you have the ability to actually create flows inside of Microsoft Teams by using the Power Automate app inside of Teams. And right there, you have all of these templates and models that you can leverage. The Power Automate app has been a part of Teams for long. However, they have made recent modifications to it. And I'll walk you through what that looks like, including AI Builder. So that's about the slides. I've tried to keep the slides at a minimum so that we can focus more on the demos and look at the AI models in action, explore how we can integrate with Teams and more. So let's get started with the demos. I'm going to stop presenting my screen and I will switch over to my browser experience. And once again, I will need a confirmation from Sharon.
Yep, looking good.
Looking good. All right. Builder, and before I get in there, since this was announced an hour ago, Microsoft put out this blog post on the Power Automate portal that says, explore the new AI Builder homepage. So very recent, as recent as this morning, we have a new homepage related to AI Builder that walks us through the different models and how we can test these models and use them in our flows, apps, or bring them into teams or leverage them with teams thanks to Power Automate. So to get started with this, AI Builder is a component of the Power Platform. So you can begin with either Power Apps homepage or the Power Automate homepage. I have signed in to the Power Apps homepage. And on the left-hand navigation rail, we have AI Builder plugged in for us. Within AI Builder, we have two tabs. One is Explore, which is great for exploring what's available within AI Builder. And models are the models that you have created, custom created, leveraging AI Builder. So let's start with the exploration part. Now, when I click on Explore, this takes me to the new landing screen experience for AI Builder. For folks who would love to leverage this like me, it's very important to understand that AI Builder is a premium feature inside the Power Platform ecosystem. To leverage AI Builder, the account under which the flows, for example, because our focus is on Power Automate and Teams, the account under which those flows are running need to have a premium Power Automate based license in order for them to work with AI Builder. And additionally, your tenant needs to have capacity to run AI Builder. If you observe right here on the top, I have this message that says, I am using a trial version for AI Builder. The diamond symbol indicates that it's a premium feature. So there are two components to it. The users leveraging it need a premium license, and your tenant needs the capacity so that you can perform those AI actions. Otherwise, I can buy just one premium license and try and run 1 million documents through AI. That's not how it works. You need to pay for the number of times you're processing those documents or images through AI. That's known as credits. That's known as capacity. You got to keep buying capacity in order to perform a lot of those AI-based operations, depending upon how much content are you trying to run through AI. Now on the home page, of course, we have the sections or the categorizations that I mentioned, which was documents, text, structured data, and images. Right now it's tagged to all, so it is showcasing all the models that are available for us within AI Builder. Let's try and break this up into different categorizations. Let's start with the most simplest one, which is text. Now, what I love about the new homepage is actually this. You can straight away go and select a categorization. So it will filter down the models that are related to text. And for each of these models, I can select them, for example, sentiment analysis. So I'll choose this. And right here, I have the option to test it out. So currently, my language selected is English, and there's a sample text that's thrown in there. It says it was easy to sign up for the online bill payment. If I click Analyze Text, it will analyze the text that's and process the response through sentiment analysis and provide the output for me right here on the right-hand side. So it will detect the sentiment of the statement that has been plugged in right here. And this sentiment has been detected by AI as positive, and it also returns a confidence score of how confident that model is. This is a pre-built, ready-to-use model. It's 100% confident that this is a positive statement. Now I can enter my own statements here. Right? That's my text. If I analyze this, it will run this through AI, and this is a positive sentiment, right? I'm happy to be here presenting to all you guys. I also love that there are some random samples that you can leverage. So for example, maybe I'm running a customer service shop, and then someone says, hey, Reza, my device stopped working after only 2 months, right? I'm getting the feedback from customers, and instead of me manually going through and detecting which ones are good or bad, I can run them through the sentiment detector for AI. So here's the text, my device stopped working after 2 months. This sentiment is negative, right? And you can test it out with various languages, various texts. You can also go multi-statements here. So I can have multiple statements and it will break it down based on those. So that's sentiment detection. And any model that's provided here for us, on the top right-hand corner, it will tell you whether this is pre-built or not. It is pre-built. That means I can straight away use this. Clearly says the licensing, which is premium. And at the same time, there's a link to documentation. I will highly recommend you to go there before you use a model, because many a times there are certain challenges and limits. For example, here is a limit. In my entire environment, in a 60-second duration, I can call this model 400 times. Right? There are many a times when we want to use it in bulk and go all out on this. You need to know what the limits are. There are a certain set of languages that are supported. Maybe my language is not a part of the languages that this model supports. So it's very important to go through the documentation, more so to read about the limits of what that model has. If I want to use it in Power Automate, I can simply click on create a flow or use it in a flow, and it will open up templates that have been created wherein I can leverage that. And these are out of the box templates that are provided for us. So we can use these, or we can create our own flows, our own custom flows, and leverage these models. I'll show you in the form of a demo very soon. Same thing, you can use it in an app as well. So that's sentiment analysis. I'll pick a few ones here. I won't pick all, but because I want to just cover most, there's a lot more to cover in AI, so I'll just breeze through these. Let's take another one, key phrase extraction, right? Once again, I receive feedback from customers. I think that's going to be my common theme for today. So someone says the account payment is due by June 1st, 2021. Now, what key phrase extraction does is it analyzes the text that's put in place and it extracts the most relevant words and phrases from that text. So if you look at here, what are the key phrases? It's Contoso account payment, right? Let's create another one. The ATM so-and-so in Namibia has failed outside inspection. So what are the key talking points? It's ATM number so-and-so, the location, which is Namibia, and then inspection. So this is again a pre-built model that extracts the key phrases from text. There's another one for language detection, right? Depending upon the text that's put in, it can detect the language of the text for you. There's another one called text translation, wherein I can translate from one specific language to another language. And there are many other types of models that you can leverage based on text. Then we have the most popular ones, which are the document processing based models. And in here, we have the pre-built models, which are right on top, and then the custom model. Let's look at the pre-built model here. One of them is invoice processing. So this model, what it does is it extracts data from invoices. It has been trained for almost every invoice type that's out there. It's been pre-built, so you cannot customize this model. And here are certain examples of what this model can do for me. If I provide a document to it that has invoice related information, the document can pick or extract information. The model can extract information from the document. For example, the address of the customer, the ID, the name, and a lot of other key metadata points, including tables. Let's test this out with our own custom invoice. So I can click on upload and I will upload an invoice document. And this is something sample and custom that I built. So if you look at this document that I uploaded, these are the things that it has captured. It has captured the name of the customer, and this is actually an image in my document. So it's doing OCR as well, which is optical character recognition. And it is 96% confident that this is the name of the vendor. So it gives you the confidence score as well. So you can decide whether you want to leverage that value that AI is providing to you or not, depending upon the confidence scores. Here's the invoice ID. Here's the date. Who the invoice is assigned to. What's the name of the customer. Here is tabular information. And it's got my entire table listed right here, right? What's the total tax? What's the total amount? Again, along with the confidence score, it's gone ahead and plugged in all that information right here for us. out of the box, ready to use model. And just to prove my point that this works with any invoice type, here's another invoice which has a completely different pattern to it, a custom invoice that I created. Now I've uploaded it. The model is analyzing it, and now it will extract all the information from this specific invoice, like the invoice ID, date, and a lot more information. That's invoice processing. Very similar lines, because invoices is a very common feature. We have receipt processing, right? Scanning receipts is a very, very common use case. And there is a pre-built model for that as well. Let's upload my own custom receipt here. For this one, I will go to my receipts, and let's say I upload a sample receipt that I stole from the internet. So it's a receipt. I uploaded it. The model will scan the receipt and extract information from the receipt based upon what this model does. The name of the merchant, and I can zoom in and see this, the name of the merchant along with its confidence score, the date at which this invoice transaction took place, the purchased items in the form of tables, subtotal, tax total, and a lot of other information. So you need to scan receipts, here's your model. You need invoices, here's your model. You need to scan business cards. Let me upload a business card that I stole from the internet. So here's one. I uploaded a business card. It can grab information from the business card as well. So there are various types of these models, like document process identifiers, text recognition, which basically does OCR. Let me show you one of this as well. So let's say I upload the snapshot. It's an image. It can actually extract all the text from the image for you. That's OCR. So these are the kind of models that are provided for us out of the box that we can leverage to enhance our business processes. And then there are going to be situations wherein you want to train, or maybe these models are not enough for you, and you want to create your own custom model. And let me show you an example of that. That's the form processing model. So let's get started with creating our own custom model to show you how easy it is in AI Builder to design your own specific customizations. So I'm creating a custom model based upon form processing. The first thing it is asking for me to put in play is, what are the pieces of information you're trying to extract from your documents? And I'm going to take the example of that same invoice documents that I have, because that's the only thing I have. But you can think about a lot of other scenarios, right? You have those common forms your users fill out at your organization, or you can think about driver license based forms, or any kind of those common forms. You can go and actually create models based on them. So let me show you. Let's say I want to extract certain information. So I want to extract certain fields of information. Maybe I need the customer name. Right, so I put in the customer name. I need the invoice date. Okay, these are the two pieces of information I want. If you have check boxes inside your forms and you want to read that information, you even have that type available here. And then there are those tabular pieces of information, right? You have tables in your documents that you want to extract. You can do that right here. You can give your table a name. I'll call these invoice items. And here you can define the columns inside the table as well that you want to read. For example, the description, the price, and maybe the quantity. I'm just going to keep it simple for the demo, right? And done. So right now, all I'm defining is what I want to extract from the model, and I need to train the model by uploading documents and training it. So right now I've just put two pieces of metadata and one tabular piece of information along with the table columns. I'll click next. Now, once I do that, I need to start training the model by adding documents. And you can add collection of documents. Many a times I receive invoices or contracts from different customers, and each customer has their own format for how they send that information over. So let's try and do this with two collections. I'll create one collection, which is RD, Reza Dorani. Maybe Reza is my customer, so that's one. And then I have another customer called Contoso. Okay, so these are two customers who send me invoice documents. Now for each of these collections that I just created, I need to upload some sample documents so I can train or teach the model of how those documents look like, plus how to go and grab the information from it. So let's start with Contoso. I need to upload some documents, so I'll go to add documents. You can upload documents from Azure Blob or SharePoint. Maybe you have it in a SharePoint library, or I can just upload it from my local device. I'll do that. I'll go to my AI Builder inventory. I have invoice sample documents. I think I was doing this for Contoso. So these are my 5 Contoso based invoices. So I'm just going to upload these. And what's happening right now is these documents are being uploaded in the model so I can train the model. So Contoso has 5 documents. And for Reza as well, for RD as well, I want to upload 5 documents. That's the minimum number of documents required to train the model. That's why I'm uploading 5. So here's 5 that go in here as well. And once I have these documents uploaded, my next step is to train my custom model to teach AI of how to gather the information that I want to extract. So let's see how this works. I have 2 collections, so I need to pick a collection and start teaching the model. So let's start with Contoso. Right? This is my first document that the model has picked up based on the 5 samples that I uploaded. And now I need to teach the model. Now, if I hover over these things, you see the model has already picked up information. It's picking up data based on OCR. It knows this is a table. It knows a lot of things already, but this is a custom model. I am teaching it. So for example, customer name, right? Where is the customer name? So this, if I click this, right, I can say that, yeah, this is the name of my customer, or maybe it's right here. I highlight this block and I say, this is my customer name. So I'm training the model. I'm telling the model, this is where you will get the customer name. Invoice date, okay. This is where you will get the invoice date. And the table, well, this is the table that I'm interested in. Now this is what I love. I've selected the table, but within the table as well, if you remember, I said I want those 3 pieces of information: quantity, description, and price. Now there's a new feature here called advanced tagging. So if I go here, it shows me how the table even looks like, and you can see it right here: description, price, and quantity. Now from this, I need to still train it, right? This, if I highlight, that's the description. Now what's the price? Well, the price is right here. Okay, what's the quantity? This is the quantity, and that's the first row. Let's talk about the second row. Where's the description? This is me teaching the model as to where it can find the information from, right? Description, price, quantity. That's it, done. I'll click done. I've trained the model. And if I want to confirm what the model has read, I can literally click this and go to preview table. This is the information that the model has extracted. So the first document is complete because I've trained the model to read these 3 pieces of information. Now I need to repeat the same steps for all the documents that I've uploaded so I can train the model. The more documents I upload, the more information I provide, the stronger the model gets, the more confident the model gets. And right now I'm doing this for Contoso. Later on, I need to do the same thing for RD. This is my second collection. I need to train this model as well. So where's my customer name? Here is where my customer name is. It's a different type of document, so pick it up from here. The invoice date is right here. And where's my table? My table is right here. And I'll do the same thing again. I'll say, yep, that's my table. I'll go to advanced and then start picking up the pieces of information that I need. Description, price, quantity. Description, price, quantity. I've trained my first document. And so on and so forth. And once I have all of this in place, I can go to the summary of the model, click on publish, and it will publish my model. So I am teaching this model so that whenever I upload documents that have this peculiar pattern that I have trained the model for, it can actually go and fetch the relevant information that I have asked the model to extract because I am training this model. And that's what a custom model looks like. So that's about the AI builder models. Of course, there's a lot more. There's images and there's much more custom things that we can do. But let's keep this simple and let's try and see how we can leverage this in the context of Microsoft Teams. So what I will do right now is I'll head over to Teams. And inside of Microsoft Teams, we have the Power Automate app. Okay, and it's very easy to install this. Go to the App Store and install the Power Automate app. Here, if I head over to create, I can create flows based upon templates that have been provided for us. And one of the templates is known as AI automation. Okay, AI automation. These are templates that are pre-built that leverage AI Builder within the context of Microsoft Teams. And here are some examples of them. Let's take one of the templates that is provided for us. Let's select this one. Analyze email sentiment with AI Builder and send the result to my team. Okay, so I have a Microsoft team. I have an incoming email that has information. I want to analyze the sentiment of that email and post it to my Microsoft team. Let's click next. Now I need to set up my flow. It says email addresses from which emails are being received. I'm going to say, all right, the emails are going to come from Raza's accounts. I'm going to pick my email address, and then recipient of the messages in Teams. Whenever this happens, send this out to me, and I'll say create the flow. Basically, I'm trying to say create the flow based on the template that has been provided for us. So this will begin the process of creating the workflow. It says the workflow is added successfully. Now, if I go to my home screen, it will list out all the flows that are related to Microsoft Teams. The same thing is also available in flow.microsoft.com. If I head over there and go to my flows, the flow that I just created should be listed right here on the top. It's right here. Analyze email sentiments with AI Builder. That same flow is also available within Teams through the Power Automate app, which is analyze email sentiments with AI Builder. Let's look at what this flow does. So I'm loading the flow directly inside the context of Microsoft Teams. So this is what the flow does. Whenever a new email arrives in my inbox, it will go and pick that information. It will then convert it to text. And the key things are here. It will detect the language. Now this is AI Builder. And the way to use AI Builder in Power Automate, there's a connector for AI Builder. If I select this, all of those that I have, specifically the pre-built ones, are available for me, right? Analyze the sentiment of text, right? Detect and count images, or detect the language, extract the key phrases, extract information from receipts. All of those models are natively provided for us right here. And here's one of them in action. Detect the language of text being used. All it needs is the text, and it's grabbing the text from the body of the email. Then it's analyzing the sentiment of the text, and then it is posting an adaptive card to Microsoft Teams. To whom? To me as the recipient. Now, what I will do is I will go to my mailbox. So let's go there, and I will send from a different account, of course. I'll try and send myself an email. Sharon, how longer do I have? Another 10 minutes?
We have got 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to send myself an email. I'm going to say customer feedback. I'm sending it from a different tab. Hi, Reza. I'm just going to say the customer was not too happy with the products. How about that? I'm going to send myself an email. So Sarah sends me an email. I receive the email that's just come in. And the email says that the customer was not too happy with the products. Now, the moment this email comes in, I have this flow that is listening to emails that are coming into my mailbox, because that's what the flow is designed for. So the flow will trigger, grab the information, detect the language of the text in that email body, and run it through sentiment analysis, so it can detect the sentiment of that text or the feedback that I'm receiving from customers potentially, and send it out to me directly inside Teams, so I get notified about it. Now, these kind of flows take about a minute to 2 minutes. That's the SLA before they trigger. So we'll wait for this one to trigger. And while we are waiting, let me show you another use case of what we could potentially do. Okay, let's create an automated cloud flow based on the Twitter feed. Okay, so let's say I'm a company, we are doing marketing around a specific product and we are following a specific hashtag, right? My hashtag is my super product, right? That's on the name of our product, and that's the hashtag that we are using on Twitter. And as the marketing team, I want to know what's going on about any post that's coming in with that hashtag, and is there anything that is negative? And if there's anything that is negative, we want to address that. We want to look at why are people, talking bad about it. We want to follow up on that. If you have a scenario like that, we can leverage AI once again and post all that information to my marketing team inside of Microsoft Teams. As an example, whatever text comes in from that Twitter post, I can say detect the sentiment, right? So let's say I'm only focusing on English language. The text is the text of the tweet. So this will give me the sentiment. The output of this, if I actually write a compose action, the output of this action, which is analyze sentiment, I can look at the overall sentiment. So this will tell me whether it's positive, neutral, or negative. So I can write a condition to check to see if it is negative. If yes, then post it out to my Microsoft team, my marketing team, so that they know about it with a link to the tweet so they can go and actually respond and follow up. I can do things like that rather than someone individually sitting and doing it. Why not let AI do that? And why just that? Maybe I want to even detect the language of the text, right? Because it's Twitter, anybody can write in any language. Well, let's do that. I can straight away detect the language of my text, right? I can just provide the text that came in from the tweet to the language detector. So I can analyze the sentiment. I can detect the language. Maybe if the language is not in English, I want to translate that, right? So why not leverage the translate AI feature? If the language is not English, then whatever my text is, which is coming in from that Twitter feed, right? I want to translate that to the language that my team understands, which is probably, let's say that language is English. So I'm going to pick English. And once I get that text in English language, I will then run it through the sentiment analysis. So I can leverage multiple types of information right here on the fly. I'm not restricted to one or the other. And that's the power of AI. And to show you an example of that, any feedback or text that's coming in, of course, I tested this before, but when those emails come in, for example, there was an email that was sent by a project team that says, great job on the project, and you got kudos from the customer. That's the text of the email. So that flow, when it runs, it can detect the sentiment and it says, yes, the sentiment is positive. You received positive feedback, right? There's another email that I received that said the client has complained of issues. We need to fix issues, and these are the following issues. So that's a potentially not a positive sentiment. So it sends me that notification that the email that you've received does not have that positive feedback. So you can do things like that. And why just limit ourselves to text? What about documents, right? How do I take this to the next level with documents? I spoke about AI earlier. Every Microsoft team is backed by a SharePoint site, whether you like it or not. And all the documents that you store in Teams, whether you are when you are posting documents in your Teams channels and so on and so forth, all of them get plugged into the backend SharePoint site. So I have a Microsoft team for my finance group, right? And they manage invoices that are sent in from customers. Previously, I showed you how to create your own custom model. I have a flow that runs whenever an invoice is uploaded in this SharePoint document library, which is backed from my Microsoft team. Let me upload a few invoices here. So let's say I receive invoices. Okay, so I've received these two invoices from the RD company, and let's say I received these invoices from Contoso. So I have received 5 invoices, and my finance team receives these invoices. They have to process this. They have to grab the information from this. Now, rather than them manually doing it, why not create a flow that leverages these invoice documents that are being uploaded here, pushes it through the custom AI model that I showcased earlier. I have already pre-built that. And then it can actually grab metadata based on how I trained the model for, and it can get me the information. For example, give me the invoice number, give me the company name, the customer name, the balance, and the invoice date. And once the flow runs, I'm hoping it runs, once it triggers, AI will grab the information from these documents and start plugging it right here inside my document library experience itself. And that's the power of AI, right? I am automating things through AI rather than manually doing the thing over and over again. So I'm just waiting for that flow to run. And once that flow triggers, we should have the metadata populate into this, and I have one of them come in. So let's check this. I never added any of this. Invoice sent by RD. If I open this, this is the invoice document. The invoice number is 4103. The date is 4/5/2020. Let's check it out. Invoice number, grabbed it perfectly. The date, grabbed it perfectly, right? And it's doing it for all the other documents as well. Right, this one invoice RD has tabular data as well, right? If I click on the items, it will actually show that tabular information for me as well. So this is the data that it has fetched from the table. So I literally, by using AI and a few, literally train the model, which was very low code, just upload documents, tag, extract information, and then write a flow that says, get started whenever a document comes in this library and send it through the model. That's all you have to do to achieve something like this, leveraging AI. And I had to connect to SharePoint because all the documents inside of Microsoft Teams that are related to a channel or a team itself goes to the SharePoint document library. And this is a classic example of that. Here's my flow that I created that does exactly that. It connects to my SharePoint site, which should show up right now once the flow loads. One Power Automate, speed up. Let's try it once more. If not, then we'll move on to the last part. Okay, I don't think Power Automate is acting up well, but what the flow was potentially doing was whenever a new item comes into my SharePoint document library, get the file because it has the context of that file. There you go. Get that file since it has the context of that file, get its metadata, send it to my custom model that I created. And all I have to do is pass the content of the file. That's it. Literally pass the content of the file. And then based on the training that I provided, it will get me the metadata, the invoice number, the customer name, the value, and so on and so forth. And I'm just updating the properties of the file. That's all I did right here. This entire thing took me an hour to build, just an hour. And imagine doing this with any other service, even with Azure. It's a lot more work there because you have to understand the APIs and so on and so forth. It's a lot more simpler right here. Let's take one last use case, and I'll try and see if I can make this quick. Let's create another flow, right? Using AI automation. And this time I will pick something different. Let's say we pick receipts. So anytime in a Teams channel, someone uploads a receipt, I want AI Builder to grab the details of the receipt and maybe put it in an Excel file in my Microsoft team itself. So I'm going to create my flow. It says team to which recipients will be sent. Okay, maybe I have a team called my cat team. Channel to which the receipts will be sent to. Okay, receipts will only be sent to my general channel. Okay, whenever someone uploads a receipt in my general channel, pick it up and put it in an Excel file. All right, where is the Excel file? Well, it's in my cat team itself, in the SharePoint site, in the documents library. All right, and what does the file look like? Well, the file, I already have an Excel there called receipts. Okay, and because it's an Excel file, it needs to have a table. It's already there. So I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and create this flow. So all I did right now is using the template, I've said create a flow wherein in my Microsoft team, if I upload a receipt, scan that receipt through AI, and then go ahead and put the metadata in an Excel file. Let's check it out. Here's my cat team, and here's my general channel, right? So I'm going to have a new conversation. Let's say I attach a receipt. So I'm going to go right here, go to my inventory of receipts, and let's say I upload this receipt, right? I'm going to say, yeah, receipt, whatever. So I've just uploaded a receipt. in the general channel. Basically, this now goes to the documents library in SharePoint because I've had this is a conversation in a channel, and any documents or images that you upload go straight away there. So that's what this is about. Now, when I upload this, once again, a flow has been configured to trigger. And that flow that I just created, which is analyzing receipts, is right here, process receipts with Teams. And this also takes up to 2 minutes, so you'll have to wait. But what this will do is it will trigger the flow. Just waiting for the flow to load so I can show you what exactly the flow does. Okay, so it will trigger the flow. Okay, when a new channel message is added, which is true, from that message, if there is any attachment, which is if there's a file, which there was, it will go and grab the content of the file since it's stored in SharePoint. And then it uses that out of the box AI component, which is receipt scanning. Simple. All it needs is the content of the file. And then it can grab the data from that file and then start putting that information in my Excel file, which I added to my backend SharePoint. And you can see that this has run and succeeded. So let's check this out. Let's go to my cat team. Let's go to documents. And here's my receipts Excel file that looks like it got updated. I added a message in a Teams channel which had a document. It picked that document, which was of a receipt. It actually grabbed the information from that receipt and plugged it into my, simply just went ahead and plugged it into my Excel file. So it has the date of the transaction, the dollar amount, the merchant name, and so on and so forth. So you can see how you can leverage AI to enhance certain experiences inside the context of Microsoft Teams. So those were the demos. I will stop presenting this screen and switch back to my presentation, and we can open the floor now for questions.